We are at Bristol Brick Show with a fleet of Star Trek ships built by member Piers Elliott. Hello, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you very much.
So tell us all about what you have built here today.
Well, you can probably see from it, it's pretty much heavily on the Star Trek end of the spectrum. Just lots and lots of ships from builds that I love across all the different series of Star Trek, from Enterprise, Discovery, all the way through to the original series, Next Generation, the movies. Yeah, just lots and lots of really detailed, densely built and detailed ships with cool little features, like most of them have like interior bridges and little characters. Yeah, just to get across the kind of the feel of the series themselves.
Were any of these particularly difficult to build?
I'd probably say things like on the Enterprise J, you've got very, very, very thin, spindly kind of nacelles. That was quite difficult to make it structurally sound. But because I like to include play features, there are things like on the Discovery, I've got it having a spinnable saucer section. That was quite tough to do. But probably the hardest thing of all was the neck connection on the Enterprise D, because it's got a massive, great big saucer section on it, but it's held up by quite a thin neck. And getting that to work without supports required a lot of trial and error.
No doubt, just looking at all of these mocks, some of these look to be a much easier process to build than others. So speaking of, were any of these surprisingly easy to put together?
I'd probably say out of all the ones I've got, were the easiest ones. Voyager was probably the easiest one because it doesn't have that many thin connections on it. So that once you start building the core of it, it kind of builds out fairly straightforwardly. So I'd probably say the Voyager. Voyager is probably the easiest one. And I really love that ship. So, it's easy when you love what you're doing on it.
That is a fair point. When the inspiration hits you, you know what you're doing.
Exactly,
so definitely there. So one big question to ask you, Mr. Star Trek. The new Star Trek ship is coming out. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll be there on launch day buying it. I have no idea where I'm going to put it because the thing is gigantic. One of the things I do with my builds is try and make them sort of desk or shelf scale, so that's definitely not the case for the new one. It looks pretty good at first glance. Look a bit closer, and if you're a real nerd, you'll notice all the things that aren't quite right, especially a big glaring spelling error to Boldy Go. But maybe that'll just mean the first edition sets. They'll be worth quite a bit maybe for that particular brick later on if they end up fixing the error. But yeah, it looks good. I'm more interested in seeing where they're going to go, because if this is just a once-off, it's a big license to just do a one-off on. I'm hopeful they'll make a lot more, and that'll just give me inspiration to keep making bigger and better and more ships.
That's definitely a good point, because I've seen loads of conversations online where Star Trek could absolutely become its own theme.
Yes.
I've also seen a lot of conversations that the gift with purchase with it is debatably the best gift with purchase Lego have ever made. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the shuttle pod does look really good. Getting a Rolauren minifigure is such a deep cut for Star Trek fans. Like, no one, if you're just a cursory fan of just sci-fi, you're not going to know who she is. So it's a real nod to the fans to get that character in there. And because of that gift with purchase coming with it, I'm actually adapting my own rebrickable build of my Enterprise D to have its own little mini shuttle pod to go with it as well. So it's been quite fun taking what Lego have done and then making my own exact sort of miniaturized copy of it.
Excellent stuff. So where can we find you online so we can see more of your amazing work?
Well, you can find me on my Instagram, which is SkyFoxBricks. Otherwise, you can find me always on Rebrickable, where I put all of my designs available on there, so anyone can get them. Not much on the cost, usually about $5 or less for the actual instructions. And because I try and keep all the parts as cheap as possible, you'll find that hopefully they're not too expensive as well.
Excellent stuff. Well, thank you so much for your time.
No worries. Cheers.